Hey, welcome to the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. Did you see the NBC special this past week on television? It was a discussion. I think it took about a half hour. I didn't actually watch it because I know what they're going to tell me, and they're going to point to the problems, and that's wonderful that they do that. But they're not going to point to the problems that I see. And they're not going to point to problems that really impact your life and your children's lives, not really. According to the Wall Street Journal NBC News poll, only 49% of Americans now believe that a 4-year degree will lead to a good job and higher lifetime earnings. 47% claim they don't believe a 4-year degree will increase job and earnings prospects. What are the implications here? The implications are twofold. One is our educational system's not doing the job. And number two, our educational system is about to change. Or not. Tuition for higher education has risen sharply over the last 10 years. Will they bring some of that down? Tremendous waste built into these colleges. Silly and useless courses of study have multiplied. They have given these professors, these teachers, these PhD people, whatever, freedom to create their own course. And they have the dumbest courses you ever heard of. They think they're important. They don't get you a job. They don't make you a better person. They don't actually educate you. They educate you in the subject they're teaching, but they don't educate you so you can teach yourself. And education is like that you would get education that would prepare you to be able to continue learning and growing and doing, giving you tools. Political activism has become a regular part of the college experience. Is that going to be curbed? Well, not in my lifetime, it won't. Extreme liberal influences have dominated higher education for several, 2 or 3 generations that I know of, maybe 4. Is that going to stop? I don't think so. And graduates carrying $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 worth of debt. Is that going to end somewhere? And that's before they actually do anything. Millions of students have fallen behind in their payments, adding to the problem. A 4-year liberal arts degree might get you a $30,000 to $40,000 job. In many cases, it won't get you a job at all. 32-year-old Jeff McKenna, who passed on college in favor of a trade school, earns $50,000 a year as a mechanic. There's a huge need for skilled labor in this country. I live in the Charleston, South Carolina area. Boeing came to town. They train people for the skills necessary to build these planes. They gave the local technical college a fuselage. I was invited to come over and see it. They're over there training these people. Volvo is coming to town. They're running advertisements. We will train you to be able to do this. Higher education officials are expressing shock and surprise that public confidence in higher education is waning. They're working now to convince people of the value of a university education. They're not working to change anything within the university. They're just working on the PR to get you to think about it better, more, differently. Tom Sakata, writing for Breitbart.com, lays out all of these issues and explains how all of this is impacting our world. Your children who are going to have to get jobs one day and support their families. is it going to work? A week ago, Friday night, NBC did a special on the condition of our public school system, how it was not keeping pace, how it was not teaching our children. I could have saved them the time and the money because it's been like this for 50 years. They stopped teaching children somewhere in the 50s and 60s. There are only 4 things a school needs or a school should do. And the U.S. public school system does none of them. One of the fundamental things that a school system needs to do is to provide that system with adequately prepared teachers. Teachers who want to teach. Teachers who can. Teachers who are academically capable and are suited, prepared to be able to do all of this. They need to give them a curriculum that actually meets the needs and the challenges of the student, not a curriculum that indoctrinates the student or is focused on what the culture, whoever the people are that are running the schools, the educational system, what they would like to see, but what the child needs. You realize that 40% of the kids in this country cannot read. Oh, they can read the signs, but they can't sit down and actually read with comprehension and any kind of ability and speed. And they graduated from high school. They need to provide an environment that's conducive to learning. Have you been in a public school lately? Violence stalks the halls and the restrooms and the locker rooms. They got to have teachers everywhere. They have police in the school now. Have for 30 years. Resource officers. Why? In Wilmington, North Carolina, where I spent 25 years, the schools there have metal detectors. And I'm sure in every major city in the country, that's exactly what it is. What's that about? Schools just need to provide adequately the teachers and the environment. They need to provide, secondly, a curriculum that's free from politics and free from any philosophical agenda. Teach the subjects. Johnny needs to read. Don't indoctrinate Johnny and Mary with your philosophy or the prevailing philosophy of the world or whatever. Just teach the facts. They need to read. They need to write. They need to comprehend. They need to understand the context in which they live, history. Teach what is. Stop trying to teach what the system wants it to be. The schools are not designed or should not be designed to craft children to follow a certain philosophy or a certain ideal. Teach them, give them skill. Thirdly, that you need to pay teachers an adequate salary. You ought to see this thing. We've got people who have produced nothing, making 100 times what teachers make in a classroom. And the result is that we're getting teachers in the classrooms who are not really good teachers. I mean, some are, but I mean, people are going into the teaching realm because it's an easy way to make a living. And we got unions and you get protection, you got all this stuff, and I don't have to get dirty, and it's wonderful. It used to be people who had skill in teaching went to teacher school or just went and started teaching. But now we're not paying people enough to put up with what they have to put up with. We need to pay them what they're worth. If you go to college and you get a bachelor's degree in any subject of value, something that actually has a trade attached to it, you will make more than that school teacher the first day on your job. What's the problem with the teacher? And some of these folks go on and get degrees after, and regular training and upgrade. They want to do better. And of course you get more, if you do more, you get more, but it's not enough. Around here, they pay teachers somewhere in the neighborhood of $25,000, $28,000. If teachers' salaries had kept pace, they'd be paying $40,000 to start. One day, somebody's going to wake up. It's already too late, but they're going to wake up. Pay them commensurate with the prevailing salaries in the community. Look at business. What are they paying people who have a bachelor's degree in science? Well, so does your science teacher. Oh, you have a bachelor's degree along with that in education. They had to take the education courses. But they're a science teacher, a math teacher, chemistry, whatever it is, pay them. And fourthly, give them authority to maintain adequate order in the classroom, regardless of what parents think or regardless of what parents believe, regardless what children can do at home. The school is not a place for children to come in and just run wild, and nobody can stop them. That has never been the case in public schools in this country until the last 40 years or so. And it goes back to the family. We don't have families anymore. We don't have moms and dads. We've got a man and a woman who are living together. They've both got full-time jobs, and they gather every night for an hour of conscious interaction with the children, and maybe one day out of the weekend, if they're not playing golf or they're not off doing something or have to work, and the kids are raising themselves, and they're doing it on their little thingies. They're watching who knows what and their iPads and their phones and all the rest of it. And parents have no idea what these kids are doing. We have a problem in this country, in our educational system. And I can guarantee you, NBC didn't talk about any of them.